GTA 6 is going to be the biggest entertainment launch in history. The trailers have been dissected frame by frame. The budget estimates circle around $1 billion in development costs and another $1 billion in marketing. Analysts are projecting the game earns back everything within weeks of release. And almost nobody is asking the question that actually matters. Not whether GTA 6 will be good, it will be. Not whether it will sell, it will break every record that exists. The question worth asking is what happens after. Because GTA 6 isn't just a game, it's the last of a kind. And by the time you're done playing it, the world that made it will already be gone. To understand why, you have to start with how GTA 5 made GTA 6 possible, and also why that same success made GTA 6 nearly impossible. GTA 5 launched in September 2013. By the end of that year, it had made over $1 billion in 3 days, which was a record at the time. Then something unusual happened. It didn't stop. GTA Online launched alongside it, and just kept growing. The game sold over 200 million copies worldwide across more than a decade on sale. It generated somewhere north of $8.5 billion in total revenue. For context, that's more than any film has ever made in its entire theatrical run. That money gave Rockstar something almost no studio in the world has ever had: the freedom to take as long as they wanted on the next thing. Most publishers operate on a cycle. You ship a game, you use the revenue to fund the next one, you ship that, repeat. The pressure to release is constant because the revenue from the last game runs out. Rockstar didn't have that problem. GTA Online was printing money every single year. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018, bought Rockstar more credibility and goodwill, and then GTA Online kept going. The studio could take a decade on GTA 6 because GTA 5 never stopped paying for it. A former Rockstar environment artist named David O'Reilly clarified in 2025 that the game likely didn't enter full production until around 2018, after Red Dead 2 shipped. But even working from that date, you're looking at roughly 6 to 7 years of active development on a scale that required coordinating thousands of developers across studios in New York, Toronto, Vancouver, and Edinburgh. The total project cost, covering development, infrastructure, and marketing, is estimated somewhere between $1 and $2 billion. To be precise about the origin of that $2 billion figure, it traces back to claims by the hacker who leaked early footage in 2022, and he later admitted he had no documentation for it. Reporting from Business Insider places the actual figure closer to $1 to $1.5 billion. Either way, it's the most expensive game ever made by a significant margin. Here's the thing about that number. It's not just a big number. It's a number that essentially no other studio in the world is in a position to spend. And that gap is getting wider, not narrower. While Rockstar was quietly building GTA 6 across the back half of the last decade, the rest of the AAA industry was heading in a completely different direction. In 2023, the gaming industry recorded more layoffs than any year in its history up to that point. Then 2024 came and made 2023 look modest. Over 25,000 jobs were cut across 2 years. The first quarter of 2024 alone saw nearly 9,000 roles eliminated, the single worst quarter gaming has ever experienced. Arcane Austin, the studio that made Prey and Deathloop, was shut down entirely. Ready at Dawn, Volition, Riot Forge, all gone. BioWare, which made the Mass Effect and Dragon Age franchises, was effectively gutted. EA, one of the largest publishers in the world, went through 3 separate rounds of layoffs in 2026 alone. The Game Developers Conference's annual industry survey found that by early 2025, 4 in 10 developers had been directly impacted by layoffs, either personally or through their teams. 6 in 10 were worried more cuts were coming. If you want to stay on top of the gaming industry conversation, not just the hype, but the parts that actually matter, subscribe. We cover this stuff every week. The reasons cited for all of this are a familiar list. post-pandemic correction, studios overhired during lockdown when player spending spiked, and then had to reverse course when spending normalized. Rising production costs that kept going up as players expected more graphical fidelity, larger worlds, longer runtimes. Development cycles that ballooned from 3 years to 5 years to 7 years, with revenue only appearing at the end of that tunnel. And investors who increasingly prefer the predictable revenue of live service games and microtransactions over waiting years for a premium release that might underperform. That investor preference is the quiet center of this whole thing. The companies that survived and thrived through this period weren't the ones making elaborate single-player open worlds. They were the ones running Fortnite, Roblox, Call of Duty, and Minecraft as essentially permanent platforms. GTA 5 was on that list, which is exactly why Take-Two Interactive, Rockstar's parent company, could absorb the cost and timeline of GTA 6. But the lesson the rest of the industry drew from GTA 5 wasn't invest a decade and $1 billion in a single-player masterpiece. It was build a service game that people never stop playing. That's the industry that GTA 6 is launching into, not the one that made it. The game was conceived and developed during a period when studios still believed in the AAA single-player blockbuster as a viable and repeatable business. The window for thinking that way has effectively closed. Not because players stopped wanting those games, but because the economics of making them at that scale stopped working for anyone except the few studios that were already funded by a previous generational hit. Rockstar can do this because GTA 5 exists. No one else can do this because they don't have a GTA 5. And when GTA 6 eventually launches GTA 6 Online, and that becomes the new revenue engine, you can already see the shape of what comes next. Rockstar parks itself inside GTA 6 Online for another decade. They don't need to rush the next thing. They don't need to compete with anyone. They just need to keep GTA 6 running, expanding, and monetizing for as long as GTA 5 did. Which, based on GTA 5's actual track record, could easily be 15 years. The gap between Rockstar and everyone else isn't going to close. It's going to widen with every year that GTA 6 Online generates revenue. By the time Rockstar is ready to think about GTA 7, the rest of the industry will have spent another decade deciding whether premium single-player games are worth funding at all. There's a version of this that's depressing if you love the AAA open-world genre. The studios most capable of making those games have been gutted. The publishers most willing to fund them have pivoted to chasing live service revenue. The conditions that allowed GTA 6 to exist, a decade of patience, $1 billion of runway, a parent company willing to wait for one creative vision instead of demanding annual releases, those conditions exist in exactly one place on Earth. And that place is Rockstar. There's also a version of this that's genuinely exciting, because the same period that saw AAA collapse saw an independent counter-movement rise. Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios won basically every award available to a game in 2023 and was made without the backing of a major publisher. Hades, Disco Elysium, Hollow Knight, games that generated genuine cultural impact at a fraction of the budget of anything Rockstar makes. The players who fell out of love with big studio games didn't stop playing. They started playing smaller things and discovered some of them were better. So GTA 6 is arriving into a split world. On one side, the mega-platform games that never end. On the other, the independent studios making things with personality and risk. In the middle, the AAA blockbuster single-player experience is increasingly hard to sustain. GTA 6 might be the last time that middle tier does something at this scale, for a very long time. The first trailer got over 90 million views in its first 24 hours on YouTube. 90 million people dropped everything to watch a reveal trailer for a game. That's not just anticipation. That's a generation of players who grew up with GTA and are holding on to something. A version of gaming that felt big in a specific way. Epic and weird and messy and alive in a way that only Rockstar at its best has ever managed. They're going to get that feeling one more time. November 19th. And it's going to be everything they hoped it would be. But the world that made GTA 6 possible already ended while Rockstar was still building it. The studios are gone. The funding models changed. The decade of patience that produced this game is not a strategy anyone else is running. GTA 6 isn't the future of gaming. It's the best possible version of a past that's already over.